I am Michael Bernard Beckwith, the founder and the spiritual director of the Agape International Spiritual Center in Los Angeles, California, and the author of Life Visioning, Fulfilling Your Soul's Potential. That's very important because the theme here in Toronto will be cultivating your mental garden. I'll be dealing with cultivating the spirit of creativity, cultivating the birth of creativity. Ricky Beebe will be with me, and she'll be providing a soundtrack of unfoldment of your soul. Powerful chanting, powerful music. We're going to create such enthusiasm, such power, such potency, that the vision that's within you, which is your destiny, will be in the right condition for its unfoldment. I want to see you there. It's Friday. It's June the 4th. It's already on your soul's calendar. Put it on your physical calendar. Let's meet. Let's have a great time. I'll see you then. Peace and richest blessings.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind, wanting to start again? Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Do you ever feel already buried deep, 6 feet under screens, but no one seems to hear a thing? Do you know that there's still a chance for you, 'cause there's a spark in you? You just gotta ignite the light, let it shine. Just on the night, like the first of July. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come and show them what you worth. Make them go oh, 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 as you shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make them go oh, oh, oh. You're gonna see them falling down, down, down. You don't have to feel like a waste of space. You're original, cannot be replaced. If you only knew what the future holds after a hurricane comes a rainbow. Maybe your reasons why all the doors are closed, so you could open one that leads you to the perfect road. Like a lightning bolt, your heart will blow. When it's time, you know you just gotta ignite the light, let it shine. Just on the night, like the first of July. Baby, you're a firework. Come and show them what you worth. Make them go oh, 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 as you shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make them go oh, oh, oh. You're gonna leave them falling down, down, down. Boom, 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 even brighter than the moon. It's always been inside of you, and now it's time to let it through. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Come on, show them what you're worth. Make them go oh, 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 as you shoot across the sky. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make them go oh, 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 leave them falling down, down. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, show them what you worth. Make them go oh, 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 as you shoot across the sky. Announcements.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to everybody online. Happy spring, happy Easter, happy Passover, happy snow on the ground. Dear Mother Nature, how is everybody today? Lovely. Welcome to everybody. If you're here for the first time, my name is Tanis. I do a couple of announcements off the top. You will have been given a program when you came in. You will see that there are a few announcements on there, as well as lyrics to any songs that we're doing today, so you can sing along as we go through the service. A couple of things to bring to your attention. While you're sitting before service, you can hear music going. We will be playing music from any of the musicians who will be coming to perform at the conference. So what you hear here, you will hear there if you buy your tickets. And I'm also going to invite you to like our Facebook page so we can get the word going even farther and wider. But get your tickets, the conference is going to be phenomenal. And if you're wondering why we're not doing birthday anniversary Sunday, because we're going to do it a little bit later. So also, if you're new, what happens is anybody who is celebrating a birthday or an anniversary in the month of April, it's our wedding anniversary and we didn't fill out a form. Oh, well. Sorry, I was just like, what month are we in?
I remembered.
Yes. If you are celebrating a birthday or an anniversary, like a 27th wedding anniversary, we got married when we were 10. If you are celebrating a birthday or an anniversary in the month of April, fill out a little ballot with your name and a registered charity, and a percentage of what we gather today during our collection will go to that charity. So if you haven't filled one out, there is probably somebody with a basket and pencils that can help you out, and we will do the draw a little later in the service. So if you need a little more time to think about who you want to donate money to, you've got that little bit of room. Last thing I'm going to mention is the Emerson online course starts tomorrow. You can register online if you're watching at home. You can register in person at the bookstore. Jonathan will be sending out an email today with course materials for tomorrow, so watch for the email if you are already registered or if you are registering shortly, so you'll be prepared for class to start tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. It's time for Reverend Jonathan Zenz to come on up and join us again.
How is everyone this morning?
Together.
everyone this morning? Yes, I was surprised to see snow on the ground, but it's all good. This Arizona boy, not used to snow on the ground at Easter, so that's for sure. We come together here at the Center for Spiritual Living every Sunday morning to know one thing and one thing only, and that is that right here, right in this experience, right now, we are all experiencing the divine. We are all experiencing love. And allow yourselves right in this moment to step back into that feeling. That what we've just done is we've lifted the energy through music, and now we can relax into that expression and feeling of love. Love, yes. So, I want to say welcome if you're joining us for the first. Who's here for the first time? Is there anyone who's joining us for the first time? Welcome. I'm grateful to you bringing your conscious awareness to this place and sharing it with us. We do have, do we have the cards to... Yes, we have cards. So we have a little gift for you that we will share. It's information about the center, and also the card that you're about to receive will also allow you to get 10% off in the bookstore today. So take advantage of that, because there's lots of great stuff in the bookstore. We just got a whole shipment of books in this week, including The Power of Decision, which is the one that I always say, if you're new to this philosophy, that's the first book you should read, The Power of Decision. It's an incredible book. So now, of course, we'll sell out of them today, and I'll have to order more, which is fine with me. All right, I'm a little jacked up today. Maybe because it's Easter, I don't know. Maybe because I'm wearing a bow tie today. The funny thing is, it's Easter, and I almost always wear a tie on Easter, but most of the time I don't wear a tie. All right, we're going to allow ourselves to be treated to the wonderful wisdom of one of our practitioners here at the center. Our practitioner is someone who is licensed through this philosophy, through this organization, to know the truth, and to know the truth for every single person here. And if you are ever in need of something in your life, you can sit with a practitioner and they can help you achieve that something. Our practitioner today has been a licensed practitioner here for several years now, and she is a brilliant font of wisdom. So I'm going to invite to the lectern Margaret Ann Snyder.
Thank you, Jonathan. Good morning, everyone. And happy Easter, and I bless your celebrations however you choose to celebrate it. My reading today comes from the Science of Mind. God is greater than all human mistakes, and in God alone is there peace and happiness. God is natural goodness and eternal loving kindness. Who is born of love is born of God, for God is love. Without love, nothing can be accomplished. With love, all things are possible. And when we love, our prayers are answered, and the gift of heaven is made. The gift of heaven is life, not death, love, not hate, peace, and not confusion. And we enter into this paradise through the gateway of love toward one another and toward God. Love overcomes everything and neutralizes all that is unlike itself. Love is God. I've always believed in the continuation of life after this so-called death. This belief and my ability to know who we are, the truth of who we are, have drawn me to support people who are preparing to make this transition. I also believe each of us has the capacity to feel or sense the spirit of someone who is in the process of leaving their body. I have had this sense of feeling when my father passed. I could feel, to the degree of almost seeing, his love, or perhaps spirit, return to his beloved garden on the morning of his passing. I felt the love. I do not profess to be proficient at seeing ghosts or spirits. Yet even this one occurrence is enough for me to believe that love carries on. As some of you may already know, I volunteer as a Reiki practitioner with people who are preparing to make their transition. There was one client I met a few days before his passing. I was able to see him about 3 times. He was able to let me know that he was comforted by receiving of the Reiki. He did not have any particular religious or spiritual practice, and as Reiki is an unassuming and quiet offering of healing and loving energy, he was able to accept the universal love. It also touched me that his wife was consoled by his peace. I have also observed that people, at their time of passing, have an amazing ability or way of orchestrating their circumstances of the exact moment they pass. The last time I saw my mother, she was unable to communicate. And yet, as I was leaving her bedside for the day, a song came over the radio. The song was You and Me Against the World by Helen Reddy. This song was able to communicate to me, and I think to her, the special relationship that we shared. The last line of that song is a little girl telling her mother, I love you, Mommy. It was perfect. It was as though the song was able to communicate something to my mother that I could not in that moment. My mother passed away the next morning just as the family gathered and was about to set out into the biggest snowstorm of the decade. It would have been a treacherous drive as she was in a nursing home outside the city. It was as though she knew it was a dangerous trip for us to take. I fully believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. And as we share, give, and receive this goodness, loving kindness, and givingness our whole lives, every thought, word, and act of love counts. They are all God expressing. My affirmation for today: infinite love flows through me. Infinite love is who I am. If you care to repeat that with me. Infinite love flows through me. Infinite love is who I am. And once again, infinite love flows through me. Infinite love is who I am. Namaste.
Infinite love flows through me. Infinite love is who I am. Beautiful affirmation. Thank you. I'm going to invite you all to take what you've heard and allow it to resonate with you. Whatever it is that you've heard that resonates, allow it to be present with you right here in this moment. Allow yourself to have an awareness of your breath, an awareness of this time in this place, in this space, and an awareness that this is the only moment that exists right here, right now. As we relax into this time, with clarity, with ease, allowing grace to lead us. One people living on one planet, joining in one family, we all are one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family, we all are one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family, we all are one. So I invite you with that breath to allow yourselves to be open to these words of prayer, of spiritual mind treatment from Margaret Ann.
In this beautiful, loving moment that is now, that is present, that is open to all the love that there is, in this beautiful moment of love, I relax and I let go. I let go of everything, and I am pure and light and brilliant. I am this beautiful light of God that is everywhere present. And this light that burns in me, that is this beautiful spark that is caught from this eternal flame of God. This beautiful flame in me, I let it burn brightly. I let it glow and glisten and fill my very being so that my light shines, my love shines, my infinite intelligence shines My beauty shines. I am this shining, infinite intelligence of love and grace and poise, of joy, of infinite love. I am infinite love. It fills me, it flows through me. It is my very essence, and it is my life as I allow this love to pour into my life. I breathe and I relax and I let go and I let God fill me with this infinite and truthful light. With this love that is gracious, that is always inclusive, that is always present, that is creative and knowing. This beautiful knowing love that all is God, that all is well, that all is the infinite expression of divine energy. I am grateful for this knowing, for the understanding that infinite love flows through me. I am grateful for this understanding that I am infinite love, and infinite love is who I am. I am grateful for this day, for this blessing of each and every person here. I am grateful for this center, for each and every person who watches online. I am grateful that love is infinite, that love is eternal, that love is now. I am grateful. And in this gratitude with a full heart of love, I release these words to the law of mind that is now present. I release, I let go, and I let it be so. And together we say, and so it is.
One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We all are one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We all are one. We all are one. We all are one. Thank you, Margaret Ann. As I was experiencing that prayer, as I was experiencing that song today, it was really clear to me that the idea of community, the idea of family is so important to me within my entire ministry, and I'm so grateful to this community for being part of my family. And I wanted to say thank you. Why did you come here today? This is a rhetorical question. I just want you to check in. As you're checking in on that, I want to offer my gratitude also to these amazing people to my right, the Queen Street Band, and all that they bring in service to this place. And also because they put up with a minister who has a lot of opinions about music. Indeed they do. I'm grateful to Pierre and Tanis, who brought this song and decided that this was the appropriate song to sing today on Easter. Please welcome Pierre Gautreau and the Queen Street Band. When you're down and trouble and you need a helping hand and nothing, oh, nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me. Soon I will You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, yeah, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. If the sky above you should turn dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind should begin to blow, keep your head together now and call my name out loud. Soon I'll be knocking on your door. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call me now, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. Hey, ain't it good to know that you've got a friend? People can be so cold. They'll hurt you and desert you, and they'll break your heart if you let them. Don't you let them. You just call my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call on me now, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. You've got a friend. You've got a friend. You've got a friend. You've got a friend.
Pierre Gautreau, Queen Street Band. Listen to the silence for just a moment. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. There are never any mistakes, ever. There are never any mistakes. This is a perfect part of the Declaration of Principles, which we've been talking about for the last several months, actually. We're almost done. Next week is the final Declaration of Principles. It's the final declaration, yes, of principles that we'll be talking about. But today, of course, this particular one falls on Easter Sunday. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. And I'm so grateful to you and your words today, talking about immortality, the concept of immortality, that there is nothing that ever dies. It simply transitions into another expression of life. And so what we experience sometimes as death on this plane of action is not death at all. It is simply moving to the next thing. And I'm reminded of Easter last year when we were talking about the 10 core concepts of the science of mind. And Easter Sunday happened to fall on the week we were talking about immortality. Like I say, there are no mistakes. It's always perfect. Everything is always unfolding perfectly. And what had happened last Easter is that I had just returned from a last-minute trip. My mother had called me on Monday. I flew to Arizona on Tuesday, and I returned that following Saturday to be here for Easter service because my mother basically was beginning the end of her life on this plane of action and moving through her transition. And it was perfect. It was exactly the healing that I needed in that moment, to be reminded of the eternal givingness of life to all, that we do live an immortal life. We just think it's temporary, but it's not. It's not. This is my fourth Easter talk since I've been here as the spiritual director at the Center for Spiritual Living Toronto. And typically what I talk about is the capacity to rise up above the conditions of life. And to some degree, that is what I'm going to be talking about today. And it is and it isn't. But that's what, for me, Easter is all about. It's not about, well, I mean, it's represented through the teaching of the Bible, the New Testament, that Jesus was crucified. The details of the story, for me, are less important than what is the story actually saying from the metaphysical standpoint. What is the lesson we learn, not what actually happened. It is also Passover. And Passover is a time when we can, the metaphysical teaching of Passover for me is this idea that we have the capacity to move past suffering and find a path to freedom. One of the greatest gifts I was given in my study to become a religious science minister, a New Thought minister, was to know that Ernest Holmes, who founded this particular branch of the New Thought philosophy, Ernest Holmes did not reject any religion. He was very clear. There is something to be known, and there is something to be experienced, and there's something deeper, because all paths to a divine understanding are good. And in saying that, I'm thinking about, what's happening in the United States with these laws that are being passed for religious freedom, and it kind of doesn't make sense to me. I'm not really going to talk about that, but it just comes to mind, so I'm mentioning it. So I want you to check in right now. Today's a bit of a reflective day for me. When I mention the word Easter, when I mention the word Passover, where does your mind go? Where does your mind go in that moment? Just allow yourself to sense what your mind is doing and what is the belief that is at the core of what you're thinking. Because a lot of people, and I say this all the time, a lot of people come to this philosophy, come to the Center for Spiritual Living, because they are trying to escape an old paradigm, as though that is something to be shunned now. And I'm going to invite you to allow yourself to recognize if there is that at play at any level for you. Because I think one of the things that we can do is we can build up fear. We can build up fear around what many people believe are sacred texts. A lot of people have fear around the Holy Bible. A lot of people have fear around the Vedas. and the Upanishads. A lot of people have fear around an idea. But that's what these things are. These texts are simply ideas that are meant to have a deeper meaning for each and every one of us. What we teach about sacred texts is this. We teach there is always the capacity for a new thought about the sacred. One of the ways people ask me, well, what is new thought? And I say, you know what? New thought is a contemporary way of understanding ancient wisdom. Because if you really think about it, Ernest Holmes didn't start this philosophy. It is grounded in the ancient Greeks. It is grounded in the Holy Bible. It is grounded in the inspired wisdom of the ages. Because every single spiritual and religious philosophy ultimately comes down to one core value, and that is love. That's it. It all comes down to love. Now, how people interpret it is what usually gets confused, but it all comes down to love. And so this is the only thing that I'm ever truly wanting to express up here, is that we have love at our command. And that's the point of view from which we should be experiencing life. Love only. That's it. Love only. So we find a new thought around the sacred. We find and apply a metaphysical interpretation of these sacred texts. A friend of mine, Mark Anthony Lord, Reverend Mark Anthony Lord, he was the minister at the Bodhi Center in Chicago. He has since stepped off of that pulpit. He's moved to Southern California. Anyway, he spoke at a center last week. I saw the video of it. I don't know if any of you, maybe you have watched it or not. Anyway, he said this, and I thought it was wonderful. Because when I say metaphysical interpretation, it could sound very strange to the ear, like, oh, well, what does that mean to have a metaphysical interpretation of sacred texts? And here's how he put it, and it was brilliant. He said, metaphysical interpretation means that the story is about you, and that all the players in the story represent aspects of you and your life. Think about that. Metaphysical interpretation means that the story is about you, and that all the players in the story represent aspects of you and your life. So, occasionally, I do teach from the Bible. Does that bring up fear? Check in with yourself. Does that bring up any sense of fear? In his talk last week, he really talked about the metaphysical interpretation of the Passover, and I'm not going to get too deeply into that, but one of the things he was very clear on is the idea of the burning bush. Well, first of all, does everyone know what Passover is all about? Maybe, maybe not. All right, I'm going to explain it to you. Just in case you don't know, or you were not brought up in that philosophy, Passover is a ritualized, it's a ritualized meal. And the Seder. Actually, I'm going to talk about the Seder because Passover actually is over the course of a week. But the Passover Seder is a ritualized meal. And during the meal, the story of Exodus is basically recounted. And the food that you eat and the wine that you drink all has meaning around the telling of the story of Exodus. And yes, they do drink wine, 4 glasses. I went to a Passover Seder a few years ago. I was hammered by the end. I was hammered. This is water. One of the things that Reverend Mark Anthony Lord talked about last week in this talk was the idea of the burning bush, which is part of the story of Exodus when Moses has his divine revelation. And he experiences the burning bush, and it's basically the voice of the divine saying to him, "Go, free the slaves in Egypt, and bring them to the promised land." And anyway, one of the questions he asks is, "Well, how will I tell them, and how will they know that I'm speaking on behalf of this divine principle?" And the burning bush says to him, "You will tell them, I am that I am." And then I always think of the 10 Commandments. With Charlton Heston, I am that I am. And then my roommate, Tony, I always joke with him because the Ten Commandments will be on television tonight. It always is every Easter, right? And Lily from the Munsters. Moses she's just funny to me. Because that's all I can think of Yvonne DiCarlo is Lily from the Munsters, and yet she's in the Ten Commandments. Okay, I'm totally off track here. I am that I am. I am that I am. And he had a wonderful way of expressing this, is going about your life and saying, you know what, love? I am that. I am. Think about that. I am that. I am. Not I am that I am. How do you take something into your own experience and say, I am that, I am, and remind yourself of this in every single moment, because there's a metaphysical interpretation of that story. That really, the experience that Moses was having was a divine revelation. It was the inspiration moving through him. Whether he actually experienced a burning bush, who knows? I think anything is possible. But what's important here is how did the information that he was experiencing flow through him to become a new idea, to become a new thought. And we have all had inspiration in our lives. Every single one of us. Not a single one of us has not had inspiration. I always do these kind of double negative things. We have all experienced inspiration. But how many of us experience it and immediately reject it? The power of this philosophy is that we are in charge. The power of this philosophy is that we are in charge. I am in charge of my experience of life. You are in charge of your experience of life. There is nothing out there saying you must be this. No. We are in charge. By changing our minds, we change our experience. That's the fundamental premise of this entire philosophy. By changing our minds, we change our experience. So if you are experiencing inspiration in any way, and you have immediately rejected it, what is there to reject? That inspiration is coming through you as you. There's nothing to reject in that. We do not bargain with the universe in an effort to be rewarded for good behavior. There's nothing to reject. But how many of us are bargaining with the universe to be rewarded for good behavior still? We believe in the eternal goodness that is already inherent in the expression of life. This is one of the cores of our teaching. We believe in the eternal goodness. Eternal goodness is a foundational premise for living. Eternal goodness, not just sometimes goodness. Eternal goodness. That inspiration, that divine natural authority that is always flowing through us is eternally good. To what degree might you be rejecting it? Because that's inspired wisdom flowing through you if you're open to it. It is a foundational premise for living. And when we give over to eternal goodness, this is where we begin to expand our experience of life. We also believe in the eternal loving kindness that is already inherent in the expression of life. The eternal loving kindness. Loving kindness, too, is a foundation of present moment experience. That, for me, is the meaning of life. Loving kindness is the meaning of life. There's no other purpose for my being here on this plane of experience other than to love. That's it. And my love is eternal. My expression of love is eternal. There is nothing that can stop it, nothing that should ever stop it. So giving over to the expression of love allowing that inspiration to move through each and every one of us, what is there to reject in that? That's divinely inspired. And we believe in the eternal givingness of life to all. When I wrote that down today, we believe in the eternal givingness of life to all. I was reminded of a Bible passage that is, for me, I think can be misconstrued in the interpretation of it. So I'm going to talk about the metaphysical interpretation of this particular Bible passage. It's from John chapter 3, verse 16. And this is that passage. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. And so today on Easter, when many Christians really take to heart this idea with a different interpretation than I'm about to present, I invite you to be open to something new, a new thought. So the first thing that comes up is I say, for God so loved the world. Well, what we teach is that God is a principle. God is not a personality. God is love, and therefore cannot help but love the world because it is the energy of love. God is not a man out there. God is the expression and energy of love, and from that all things are created. But in this love, this divine creative power gave his only begotten Son. That's the second part of this. This divine power gives of itself. There's the eternal givingness of life to all. And when I look at this and I see gave his only begotten Son, that does not specifically refer to one individual who walked this plane of experience 2,000 years ago. What that means to me, and what I invite you to take to heart today, is that each and every one of us, being the created of the Creator, being the beloved of the lover, we are each of us the offspring of this divine creative resource. That's what that means. From love, each and every one of us is the sonship of the divine. We are each and every one of us love embodied and expressed. That whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. The last part of this is tough for some people, because they read it and they think, oh, I have to give over my control to some idea that is outside of the self. And I say, no, not at all. The belief is to have an understanding of what it is you believe. Because when we step into an understanding of what it is we believe, I guarantee you that what we will find, most likely, is this idea. Belief in love allows love, and love only. And that is the fundamental premise from which all is created. And we are all participating in that. Whether we're aware of it or not, we are creating our own lives. We are creating our own experiences of life. So the divine, from love, as love, created each and every one of us. We are not separate from it. We are it. And from this, our belief sets the limit to the expression of our life. It is done unto you as you believe. Who said that? Well, I did say it just in this moment, but I am quoting somebody who Jesus said that. Fundamentally, Jesus was teaching what we teach. It is done unto you as you believe. So as you experience sacred texts, whatever they may be, as you read, I mean, you know what? I just had this idea. I mean, it came to me again. I've thought about this before, and I'm sure I've even said it in service. Can you imagine in 2,000 years what the sacred text might be? Because the predominant religion 2,000 years ago was not Christianity. Christianity did not exist. It was not Judaism. The predominant religious philosophy during the time of the Romans was a belief in multiple gods. And they borrowed that from the Greeks. That was predominant. So where do you think we will be in 2,000 years? J.K. Rowling may have, a very sacred text on her hand. Think about it. Can you imagine the gospel according to Hermione Granger? And I do bring it up, as in a way that I do want that to be humorous, but I also want us to understand that the written word is interpreted through your own mind. And so you take from it exactly what you need from it. And so don't be afraid of any of it, because there is wisdom within all of it. There is wisdom within all of it. Story. We thrive on story. We thrive on story. And stories, every story you hear on some level is meant to teach something. Even stories that may on some level seem to be throwaway ideas. They're there to teach something. Nobody tells a story without some idea about why they are telling it. All stories have the capacity to teach. All stories can be parables. And the most effective stories clearly teach us something. And all stories, being filtered through each and every one of our own minds, are grounded in what we believe individually. These stories, being filtered through our mind, what we believe, this equals how we hear the story. Because there's that book, the Holy Bible, which is filled with many stories. And if you've ever read the Bible, there's a lot of war. There's a lot of sex. There are a lot of things that, many traditional Christians choose to ignore, and that's okay. It's filtered through their own mind. That's what I'm getting at. Each and every one of us has the capacity to know something more deeply, more profoundly through the stories we read, through the stories we hear. So, I mentioned Passover earlier. Passover is a ritualized meal which tells a story. The liberation of the ancient Israelites from Egypt. But the retelling of that story means nothing. It means nothing if it does not deepen our experience of the now. It's one of the things I love about Passover. I loved going to that Seder, regardless of, getting hammered. But it deepened my experience of my present moment in the experience of the ritualized meal. And I love ritual. I do. And that brings me actually then to the song that was chosen for today, which starts, when you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand and nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me. And soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. There's a story. There's a story. When you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand and nothing is going right. How many of us have experienced times in our lives when we were down, troubled, needing a helping hand? Is there anyone who has not experienced that? in those times, there is always an opportunity to close our eyes. And I am going to say, think of me. M-E. Mental equivalent. Recognize in that moment, what is your mental equivalent? And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about when I say mental equivalent, I'm going to explain it to you. The mental equivalent is the idea you have in mind that is showing up as the expression of your life. There is something in your mind that is equal to how your life is being experienced. That is the mental equivalent. So close your eyes and think of the mental equivalent in that moment. What is the mental equivalent that allows you to be where you are in that moment, where you are down and troubled, needing a helping hand? And then it is up to each and every one of us in that instant to, in the recognition of whatever that mental equivalent is, to know that we are in charge of the mental equivalent. We are in charge of the idea, and when we shift our mind, when we change our mind, when we change the mental equivalent, we change the experience. And this is not to say that we all have to do this on our own. There is always an opportunity to do this with help, because that's what Margaret Ann is here for. That is what practitioners and ministers within this philosophy are here to do. They are here to assist through the shifting of mind. And all that we do as practitioners in this philosophy is know a new idea. We allow ourselves to go to that new mental equivalent on your behalf as you sit with us, so that we can know something new and allow you in your receptivity of it to experience a new expression of life. None of us is alone in this. You've got a friend. I was joking with him this week that I should have introduced the song as "You've Got a Friend in Jesus," and then have it be a surprise that we weren't doing that particular song. So reconsidering the mental equivalent, reconsidering that idea in mind, allowing that new mental equivalent to show up in life will brighten up even your darkest night. It's up to each of us to rethink, refresh, and renew our minds. Allow yourself to get help in that path, in that journey if you need it. It is up to do so with love at the core. Love at the core. Love for others, regardless of how they treat you. That's a circumstance. Showing up as love means that love is the only thing that shows up in your life. Love for yourself, regardless. There may be times when you've beaten yourself up. That's not very loving. But let yourself off the hook and allow yourself to love yourself, regardless of the circumstances. And quite frankly, a love for life, a love for this experience of life, because this experience of life is a gift, and I am so grateful for this gift. Love for life regardless of the circumstances, regardless of any circumstances, because circumstances are temporary and love is eternal. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. Love lifts us up where we belong. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Namaste. I'm going to invite us to honor those who are celebrating a birthday or an anniversary to be recognized in this moment. If you have filled out your ballot, did you fill out your ballot?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so they've got theirs because they're having an anniversary. What happens is when we do the offering today, when we take up the offering, a portion of that offering will be donated to a registered charity that has been indicated, and we will draw the name of this charity at random from those of you who are experiencing a birthday or an anniversary during this month. So I'm going, do you have the, okay, is there anyone who needs to still put in? All right, let's sing the song.
All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
All right. Is that the basket? Thank you. Gina, are you celebrating? All right. Because I want to make sure.
Well,
I gotta
yes.
be camera aware. Hi. If you would please draw one of those at random. Let's see. The winner today, Tanis and Pierre. And so a portion of today's collection will go to the Toronto Vegetarian Association. All right. I'm going to leave that there. I've got that there. All right. Whatever you have to offer the center today in terms of a tithe, a contribution, and investment in this place, I invite you to take it, hold it in your hand, and recognize it for what it is. This is a circumstance that is grounded in love. And as we expand our experience of love, as we expand our consciousness of love, this grows in our experience. And so today what I invite you to do is allow love to be at the core of your givingness. One of the things it was a ritualized experience that I used to experience at the NoHo Arts Center for New Thought, where I received my training, and I'm just going to put it out there today, which is a declaration of gratitude and a declaration of abundance. Divine love consecrates this gift. It goes forward to heal, prosper, and bless, and it is evidence of my conviction that this divine source is the source of supply for this center. I joyously contribute to the vision of this center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And that's the truth. So as the baskets go around, I invite you to stand and sing and enjoy this song, The Point of Power.
Yes.
I'm going to invite Margaret Ann to do a blessing over the offering.
I I take a deep breath and I relax into this beautiful moment that is full of energy and love. And I recognize and I know that there is only one power, that it is love, that it is infinite, that it is eternal, and it resides and springs forth in each of us. We are love. We are infinite, we are eternal, we are in this present moment fully powerful, fully present to this oneness, to this beautiful life that is ours to lead. I'm grateful for this life. I am grateful for each and every person here and online and who has any thoughts that are loving and gracious towards this center. I am grateful for each and every person that volunteers their beautiful time and energy to this center. And I'm grateful that this center is here, is now, and is in an expansive mode of giving. I am grateful, and I love this beautiful place that is this moment. In gratitude for it, in gratitude for this moment that is love, I release these words to the law, knowing that all is well and all is done. I release, I let it go, and together we say, and so it is. Now.
Now. Thank you. I'm going to invite you all, just as a reminder that we do have fellowship following service, and it's a great time to get to know people that you maybe have never spoken to before. So if you see a new face today, say hi. It's as simple as that.
I'm going to invite us all to relax into this present moment awareness. Allow that thing, that one thing, maybe many things, allow yourself to be washed over with what it is that has touched you here today. Allow yourself to resonate with the idea. Allow yourself to live the story and know that that story is with you and can inform your experience, and allow that experience to be grounded in love. And so as we allow our conscious awareness to move to that place, we do so with a breath and a recognition that this divine energy that I choose in this moment to call God, good, orderly direction, is fully present right here and right now, and it is who and what I am, it is who and what each and every one of us is.
Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me. As me, where I sing, God is. Where I dance, joy lifts my feet. Where I live, beauty's flowing free, in and out and through me. As me, for where I doubt, God is the faith in me. Where
I cry. God is the comfort there where I seek. God is the answer here and now, forever and ever and ever. Where I speak truth is, where I work, love is my career. Where I play, God is playing boldly, in and out and through me, as me. Right here in this moment, I recognize and know that there is a single power for good, and I know that this power is love. Each and every one of us is a pure, perfect expression of this divine power, living its life as our own, experiencing its experiences as our own, and calling it ourselves. And I trust and know that we are each of us a community that is experiencing the life of this divine power together, grounded in love, grounded in this understanding. I trust and I know that all that we experience is good. I trust and know that life is unfolding perfectly for each and every one of us. I trust and know that the new story we each of us tell ourselves is a story that is life-affirming and life-supporting, and always moving us in the direction of evolution, of a new idea, of a new thought that is more deeply grounded in love, and allowing the inspiration of this divinity to flow through each and every one of us more and more and more and more. This is fully present right here in this moment. And it is present in the experience of love and gratitude. And so I am grateful. I give over in gratitude, knowing that gratitude fuels this engine of creation. I live my life in gratitude. I'm grateful to this community for the awareness that each and every one of us brings here today in this moment, and the joy that each and every one of us shares in this moment. I'm grateful to everyone who came together today in the experience of service. I'm grateful to Linda and Jim, our board members on duty today. I'm grateful to Lori, who set up today. I'm grateful to Judy Southern and Judy Pressman, who are our greeters today. I'm grateful to Marg in the bookstore. I'm grateful to Dane on the soundboard. I'm grateful to Kimon on our webcast. I'm grateful to Pierre Gautreau, Tanis Burnett, the entire Queen Street Band for all that they bring, the spiritual nourishment that they bring through music. I am grateful for that. I'm grateful to Lena for her brilliant meditation this morning, and the experience she brings us in meditation. I am grateful to Margaret Ann for the words of wisdom she shares. I am grateful, and it is in gratitude that I simply allow this to be the truth of my life, releasing this word to an immutable law that says, yes, 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 it is done. It is so. For in the speaking of it, I know it is so. And I let it be so, as together we say, and so it is now. Where I am, where I stand, where I play, where I work and breathe and move and be, where I sing, where I dance, my dance, my dance, wherever I go, God is. God is. God is. Namaste. And so to take us out, to kick this into high gear as we take this message into the street and into the world, we're going to finish out the day with watching the river run. Watching the river run.
Watching the river run.
Have a wonderful
Albert Fun.
watching the river run.
Whoa!
Have a great Sunday, everyone.